Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Friday night of and the winners are. Um, I'm here tonight with my fantasy guru, Mr. Michael Valverde, and we California guys are going to kind of talk your ear off for the next 90 minutes or so. Mike,
Absolutely. I'm doing good, sir. How are you? How are you doing?
uh, well, did anybody tell you that it never rains in Southern California?
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that.
Well, it has rained all day today. Uh,
Yeah.
but at least it's not 93 or 95 or close to 100. So,
No.
I'll I'll take the in between. A little wet, but at least it's not a monsoon. So
Yes, that's right.
So, Mike, I know we're going to get into the NFL a little bit later, but there's some news on the college front. There seems to be a close, in some people's mind, whether you're looking at the AP or the coaches poll. There's very little separation between Alabama and Georgia. What's your thoughts on the defending champion?
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think it should be. I mean, what I saw on Saturday last week was exactly why it should be very close. Both teams were amazing. There was a big question on how the Georgia defense would be after losing so many players, but they were amazing. These two teams very well could be what we see in the championship game later in the year.
Yeah, and then of course, everybody was talking about the Florida State LSU game.
Yes.
And there were some pretty strong opinions last night between Spencer and Bill and Don about Brian Kelly. And, well, of course, blowing the extra point. Should he have went for two or not? And seeing how the game was coached, I mean, you had a blocked field goal right up the middle.
Right.
You had the block extra point right up the middle.
Correct.
I mean, at some point, does your head coach say to your special teams coach, "Hey, buddy, let's have a little talk here"?
Yeah.
I mean, even the halftime speech was watery.
Yeah, it does come to a point of that, but you're hoping that with college, in high school, that probably would have been a different story. Maybe they probably would have, but if you have to have faith in what you put out there in a college game. And was it the right call? I don't know. I don't even know why not going for 2-point, even if you're having troubles blocking and doing those kind of things. So I might have just gone for the 2-pointer anyways. Regardless.
That was kind of our argument. If you're leaking up the middle,
right,
then you have to go for the 2-point. I mean, but do you think that? And this was another observation about Brian's career. That always taking the max money wherever he went, and once he runs out that contract, he seems to get a better position. I mean, he gets fired upwards. You don't usually fight.
You don't see that very often. No, you do not. some people are just lucky that way, and he is for some whatever reason. I don't know if it's his communication skills with upper management, if he's owed a lot of money from some other angle or whatever might be. But you're right, he always gets lucky, and these are the kind of reasons why he's also failed too. And it's just pretty soon you're going to wonder how many chances he's actually going to get.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, and maybe I'm being very harsh on the SEC, but as I was saying last night, it's a conference with a very low tolerance for losing.
Right.
And there's speculation, and I kind of went along with it myself, saying that all it takes is two LSU boosters to say we'll buy you out, and he's out of there.
Sure.
But how long do you when you see what he did and the way he coached? Do you think that that's going to be tolerated in the SEC?
Not for long. As you mentioned, it's this the SEC is so competitive. It's like the Big Ten, right? I mean, if you're the lower teams in the Big Ten, okay, you're willing to sort of roll with the punches. But when you're not, there's only so much room you're going to give a coach before it's time for you to say goodbye. And these kind of decisions that he's making is a quick exit. It's a very quick exit.
By the way, there's a very good segment on the Brian Gumble HBO show where they do an article, a segment on the Big Ten president from when he wanted to cancel the Big Ten season all the way up until uh, the present day. Uh,
Oh wow.
it's yeah, I just happened to catch it today because watching some of the reruns. But yeah, it's
Is that
it,
at the new episode, or is that?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay. I gotta check
yeah,
that out.
yeah. It's it traces his father's lineage through the college program all the way up until his NFL career, and then going and taking a job as a Big Ten commissioner, not having that kind of experience. Usually you hear of it the other way around. The guy goes through all that and then he goes, you think of college as a demotion, but when you get called to be the Big Ten commissioner, I guess you might answer the call a little bit differently.
Oh yeah, for absolutely sure.
The funny thing is that he said when he took the call, he thought they were calling him to get recommendations. He didn't think,
Mm,
not thinking that they were calling to actually try to hire him.
wow.
So, uh, it's like I said, for a few minutes there, it's very interesting to hear his story.
I love
Um,
that show. Brian Gumbel does a great job, and so do the reporters. They're always great episodes.
yeah, and sometimes they take articles from a different perspective than you would never think of, from
Yes.
a sports point of view.
Hmm.
Uh, and sometimes it shows that a lot of these people are human. They're not just images on a card or on your TV.
Yes, sir.
um, Little trouble in your neck of the woods, though. Seems like Michigan has lost a couple guys.
Oh,
You lost who was it?
Michigan State.
Is it Michigan State? Yeah,
Uh,
Michigan
yeah,
State. Yeah, they lost Henderson and they lost Snow for the rest of the season.
yes,
How big a setback do you think that's going to be for the Spartans? When think
yeah.
I think at one time weren't you 6-8 in the poll?
Um, Michigan was 8. They are now 5. Michigan State is not sure where they
They
are.
might have been knocked out of the top 10 with those.
They might have. They might have, because they lost, I believe,
Yeah.
or did they win? I can't remember.
Uh, I didn't
Let's
look
see.
up the
I got
this.
it. I got it right here. Michigan State is 14 at this point, and then
Okay.
so they actually moved up one. They were 15 in week one before the season started. They won, obviously, and then moved up to 14.
I thought they had broke the top 10 before
No,
preseason.
you're flipping Michigan and Michigan State because
Okay.
Michigan was 8 to start the season, and
Okay.
then now they're 5, and now they're 4. I'm sorry, 4.
Yeah, I was. Were you surprised that they jumped up to number 4?
4 spots is huge, especially when you're getting so close. When you're at 8 already, and then you move up 4 spots. So, yeah, Utah lost, Notre Dame lost, but they were, the Utah game definitely. I was like, okay, well, they're definitely going to get into at least the 6 or 5 region. So with the loss to Notre Dame, I think that bumped them down 1 spot, um, and it was able for Michigan to jump to to at least I thought 5. I when at the end of the week I thought, okay, they'll be 5, but to be 4, yes, I'm actually pretty surprised.
um, are you buying the hype to number 4, or are you cautiously optimistic?
I'm cautiously optimistic. It's easy to beat up on really bad teams. It's obviously much more difficult when you're playing the top ranked team. So um, we'll see. I mean, I like what I saw out of them, but you don't. I mean, it's an easy victory. They should do what they did, and they did. So, well, again, they should do the same thing this week. They shouldn't lose. It shouldn't be a close game. They should dominate. After that, we'll see what the competition is, and and those kind of things. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic.
There were two things that watching that Brian Gumble show that the Big Ten commissioner said that he'd like to take an active part in. And one is making sure that by the end of his tenure, or as best he can, making sure that college athletes get paid some kind of a stipend. Uh, and the other message that he sent was that it doesn't matter whether there's 14 teams or 18 teams, it'll always be the Big Ten.
Ah,
So,
that's something we were talking about last week. Where what are we going to call this thing now that it's like the Big 25?
yeah, I mean, we're at what, the Big 14 now by
Yeah,
2024.
yeah, exactly. It's
So
kind of crazy.
yeah, so I'm thinking at least 16, if not 18, but at least cautiously 18, but realistically 16, at
Yeah,
least until 2026 or whenever they decide to finalize the is it a 12 team playoff concept
yeah,
being
12 team.
children. Yeah.
I think that's 2025. I believe is the 12 team.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so they got until now to kind of work that out. So as we said before, what happens to the little guys? You
Yeah,
know, uh, the bowl game. That determines the what one double A championship.
hmm
You know, um, HBCUs, and I mean, even though this program has managed, this college has managed to put forth a lot of pro athletes. What happens to a team out here in the Mountain West, like San Diego State,
Right.
Fresno State.
Hmm. I think Fresno State actually has probably more of an opportunity than San Diego State does, for that matter. But uh, yeah, I mean, it's money rules everything. So if you're not the money king or at least participating in that money party, then nobody cares about you. You're just expendable. So um, I just like those situations. I always feel like I'm the guy that goes to the independent films. I'm the one that's rooting on the small colleges, and I went to a small college. I went to Cal State Bakersfield, so it's um it's just always something that I'm. So it's sad, but I understand it's business too.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Youngstown State, and doing another part of my journey, I went to Fayetteville State. So,
Hmm.
it's it. I think sometimes those atmosphere that atmosphere is more of a I want to say a bonding ritual. I mean,
Hmm.
I remember when Jim Trussell came to Youngstown State before he won that national championship and then went to Ohio State, you know, and it was amazing the way people had been drawn to Jim Trussell, but then he was, uh, how should I say it politely? He was a player's coach. Should I
Mm,
put it that? Should I put it that way?
gotcha.
So it, but yeah, it's very interesting to see how some of these little programs are going to be absorbed. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, North Carolina, perennial powerhouse.
Mm.
The school that Trey Lance went to. Uh,
Uh,
yeah,
South Dakota
yeah, and like I said, those are
or is it North
perennials.
Dakota? Yeah.
And one of the Dakotas, they're just,
Yeah.
they're only separated by a line on the map.
Yeah,
So,
it's not much. Yeah.
I mean, politics all kind of run the same.
Yeah, they do
Uh,
for sure, especially in that area.
yeah. Uh, we've had some new rules and tweaks and trends coming up this season, and I wanted to know what you think of 'em, before we get into our NFL talk. And one, of course, that everyone was anticipating after what happened with the Kansas City game. Now, each team must get a possession unless the defense scores a safety.
Hmm.
So, what do you think about it? I mean, are we going to, give out participation trophies now? I mean, you know, if you're not, if your defense is not capable of stopping the other team, are you getting rewarded for having a bad defense? I mean, and how many times does this happen?
Yeah.
Your team gets a touchdown, and then the next team goes down and gets another touchdown. Uh, how many overtimes are there going to be? Like I said, what are we going to start doing now? Giving out participation trophies for post game to get in there?
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, it really does. Just because you win and you win, and we gotta, it's very much the sudden death is gone. The 40-yard pass for a touchdown, game over kind of thing. Or and now it's just like, oh, okay, well that's nice. So the other team, and again, we're talking about money. This is all about money, and people wanting to see more of football, especially they want to see that Kansas City Buffalo game again. And it's like not fair that this team has this, and that this shouldn't happen this way. And well, there was at one point, like I mentioned, where it was sudden death, and talking
That's
about
that's
fair.
what it was called, by the way.
Yeah.
It was
Hmm.
called sudden. And I mean,
Yep.
so I mean,
And so it is. It's very much a participation trophy where, you're getting both sides to participate, but it's also a watering down effect where, oh, it's okay, we'll get a chance, and I don't like it. If you're going to do the rule, then A, do it all the way. Don't just do it for playoffs. And B, um, I'm a traditionalist. When it was sudden death, it was sudden death.
Yeah, hey, and like I said, are you going to reward a team for having a bad defense?
Right,
You know,
exactly. Yeah. So it's okay to be 32nd ranked defense on the football field, you know, get driven down on the field on, and then score a touchdown and then get another shot at it because your defense sucks. Well,
yeah,
get a
but
better
you,
defense.
but you got the number one ranked offense in the country. I mean,
Exactly.
just an example.
Right,
Um,
right.
and also, there's supposed to be more attention to the illegal contact penalties.
Yes.
Advantage O line.
Yeah, in a way. I think there's more to it than just the offensive line, but the offensive line definitely gets a bonus on this, just because they don't have to sort of um, protect the situation as much as they used to, Um, and I like this rule. I think it got so bad where a player would hit a quarterback, in the helmet, but was pushed by the offensive lineman, or he
Right.
tripped and fall, and the hand would come and hit the helmet or whatever. Now that's like, okay, they have to look at intention. It was the intention of really trying to rough the passer, or was this just a fluke thing that happened? So,
Yeah, I mean, we saw many times last year guys getting blocked into the passer, or
right.
guys, the players passed them, but they went down too low,
Yep.
So, uh, but then I also look at when you're talking about recalibrating the roughing the passer, are we really taking the red shirt off the quarterback? I mean, Tom Brady
Hmm.
rule is still there. I mean, so is this, and when you have to make that call in the split second, does this really make the quarterback more vulnerable?
I think it does, because what you're asking for is referees to look for intention, and then whenever you're looking for intention, you're being subjective. And whenever you're being subjective, you could always be wrong. So I might think he totally smashed the quarterback with his right arm, and it's a flag. You might look at it and go, no, he kind of stumbled a little bit and his arm was going forward, so it kind of hit the helmet. And no, that's not intentional. So there's no defined rule. There's no objective rule here. So you could open the door to a whole slippery slope of things, especially when you're looking at two opposite viewpoints on the football field.
I'm on the show. The door is open. I'm on the show. The door is open.
Okay, don't worry.
The door is
Just
open.
Teresa.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. Yeah. She's coming back in from New York tonight. Uh,
Oh,
yeah. Took her 3 days to get, 28 hours, I think it was, to get out of Chicago on the way there. But so far,
wow,
things are pretty,
28 hours.
yeah.
Jesus.
And they got stopped in Chicago. So,
Yeah, I heard Chicago's like completely like congested, and I don't know if it still is or not, but this was a couple of days ago, I believe. I heard something like that
yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. What do you like the 15-yard limit? There's the limit. You can only have a certain number of players within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. Kind of the old breaking up the wedge type thing. Uh,
Mhm.
what do you think about that rule? Do you think because this is something that the owners made permanent?
Yeah, I think they got tired of the fact that there was a very, very low success rate on onside kicks, and they try to look into something that opens that up a little bit, because I mean, you want to be safe in those kind of things, and onside kicks can be very dangerous because it's a full on collision going on. It's almost a scrum kind of way, and but you also don't want to make it so stringent that you're not being able to turn over or get a chance to actually recover the onside kick. So I think that this gives that a fair balance where the injuries are not going to be high, and you're also going to have a good chance of recovering those onside kicks.
Speaking of onside kicks in the kicking game, period, uh, do you think that we're going to see more of the pop-up type kicks rather than kicking it back for a touchdown, for a touchback, where a team has to bring the ball out, or you kick it down to the five, or you know, uh, I guess I would more precision type kicking
Yes.
than the classic type of kicking that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, this is something I've been thinking about for a while. So normally, what we see is the team kicks off, boom, kicks it off into the end zone. The team takes it over at the 20, and they start their offense. But I'm like,
Well,
okay,
well,
why
the
not kick it?
25 now.
Yo, 25. You're correct. So they're at the 25-yard line, and they take over and they start their offense, first down, whatever, right? And then so I'm like, why not kick it to like the goal line or the 1 yard line and force them to come out, and make them get to the 25-yard line. And if they can get to the 25-yard line, sure, you earned it. But for the most part, I don't see that happening very often. So why give them extra yards that are for free? Also, you can do things like is force a fumble, do those kind of maybe a penalty. There's usually when you see someone running a touchdown back, right? You kick the ball off, the guy gets and runs a touchdown back. Well, you see a penalty on the field. Guess what? It's usually on the return team, right? So there's all these different things that are a negative towards this, and I think that's how I would handle the situation. If I have a good enough kicker that can do that, that's what I'd want.
Yeah, I mean, who was it that had a punt, 68-yard punt? Was it last week?
Oh yeah, I forget who it was, but yeah, they that guy booted the hell out of that
And
thing.
then, I mean, like I said, everything is getting to be more precise. Kickers being able to hit that, trying to get that perfect kick on that, once the ball hits and that kick out of bounds, you know. But hey,
You remember on punts there was the coffin corner. Remember?
right, right. But when's the last time? I think I
That
played for.
yeah,
I think I played football the last time I saw a
that
coffin
happened. Yeah,
corner.
you're right. Yeah, they stopped doing that a long time ago.
you
Yeah.
know. Let's get into a couple of situations here. Lamar Jackson, of course, had given a deadline of Friday to get his new deal, and the Ravens said no new deal.
Yeah.
So, do you think Lamar will be franchised for the length of this existing contract in hopes that either he gets better and they're forced to pay, because what are they forced to pay? I think eventually the franchise tag will cost them $50 million or something like that, some
Yes.
ridiculous number.
Hmm.
So, you know, uh, do they actually? Is there an advantage to them franchising him for the next 2 years, or do we do a Trey Lance and hey, three first round picks and a couple linemen and you know, done deal.
I think they're going to give him one shot this year, and he either is going to do it or not. If he's great and is sort of the MVP as he was in 2019, then absolutely, he's going to get a big old fat contract. If not, then they might just roll with Tyler Huntley.
Well, see, and here's the thing to me, is like even though. I clown Cleveland all the time. That deal that they made, for another quarterback to think that he's going to get Deshaun Watson guaranteed money.
Hmm.
You saw the reaction from the owners.
Right.
Do you really think that the owners are going to say, "Hey, man, yeah, we'll break the bank for you"? I mean, after all, we're only billionaires versus millionaires, right?
Yeah. Um, I don't see that happening for him. It shouldn't have happened for Deshaun Watson, for that matter. Um, but the way things are going now, it's like it would almost be shocking that it wouldn't happen either, because it seems like, as you mentioned, these you know millionaires, billionaire owners are just like, okay, whatever you need, we'll just throw it out there and you can have it. I mean, Christian Kirk's contract is ridiculous, um, but you see that all over the league now, where they just pay the money. I mean, okay, we're okay with it. I don't know.
Uh, do you think that Seattle will boo or cheer Russ's return Sunday?
I think they're going to cheer. The guy won a Super Bowl for him, took him to another Super Bowl, and if it wasn't for a really, really stupid offensive play call where you don't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch, then they would have won. I think that would have won back-to-back Super Bowls, or at least 2 out of 3, or whatever it was, with Russell Wilson. And yeah, this is competitiveness, his heart, his the way he played the game, as far as scrambling around and always finding the receiver open and getting the ball downfield, and miraculous Hail Mary victories. Yeah, they're going to cheer him.
Um, who's going to have the better season, Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones,
Better season, fantasy or NFL wise?
NFL wise?
NFL wise, I'm going to go with Mac Jones. I'm going to see a lot of growth out of Trevor Lawrence, but Mac Jones is sort of already there. He's very mature, so there's going to be some growing pains. As Trevor Lawrence grows, there's always going to be those growing pains, and because of those growing pains, and being just on a really bad team right now, um, it's going to reflect on him a little bit, and therefore Mac Jones will look more of the spotlight kind of guy.
In spite of the way he's been looking at practice?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Mac Jones. I think he is, he's not a great quarterback. He's not as great as Trevor Lawrence. He's very much of a, pocket passer. Very, he's not going to be someone more than that. Trevor Lawrence will have a much better career, but for this year, I have to lean towards Mac Jones.
Okay. Uh, interesting that the ESPN has hired Fitz as an analyst for Monday Night Countdown. What do you think about Fitz as an analyst on Monday nights?
The, I, I hope he's good. I haven't really seen him in an interview, or I haven't seen him do anything, off the sidelines or something for Arizona. You know how they have like the preseason games, and they'll have like announcers that we just don't know of because they're not national. So I haven't really seen him broadcast. So I don't, I can't really give a yes or no answer. But do I like Larry Fitzgerald? Absolutely, I love Larry Fitzgerald. So I am excited for him, and I'm excited to see what the outcome is. But without really knowing, what he's like behind the mic, then I can't really give an honest opinion.
He's always been very press friendly, though.
Okay, okay, yeah. I mean, those are definitely keys, and very. I mean, he has a wonderful smile. He's a good looking man. And he's I just need to see him just translate the game and do those things, and but I'm excited. I am. I just can't say, well, it's going to be really bad or it's going to be really good.
You fear the beard? They're supposed
I
to be
always
wearing.
feel I always
Yeah,
fear the beard.
yeah, Larry's supposed to be sporting the beard for this. for his telecast. So we'll see. Uh, uh, Bears quarterback Justin Fields says that he's glad that the 49ers passed on him to take Trey Lance. Now, Justin says, I'm happy to be in Chicago and that he's glad that they passed on him, meaning the 49ers. Are you buying what Justin's trying to sell? I know he has to live in Chicago, but the 49ers made the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years, right?
Yeah. And yeah, no, I'm not buying that whatsoever. I think the 49ers, it was Trey Lance from the get go. I don't think they thought about, I mean, they probably took him into consideration, like they do fair game for everybody, but no, they wanted Trey Lance. So I don't know where he got that or what he's trying to say with that, but 49ers and Trey Lance were always linked.
You into Shakespeare at all?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, let's play a little game of to be or not to be.
All right. Right on.
Okay. Saints wide receiver Olave catches his first NFL TD pass.
To be.
Falcons quarterback Marcus Mariota will have a quarterback rating of less than 70.
Ooh, that's pretty bad. I'm gonna say not to be.
What do you think it'll be around, considering the Falcons against the Saints defense?
Yeah. I think it will be above, like, I- maybe 84.
Okay, all right. Um, Bucks wide receiver Russell Gage will catch his first TD pass from Tom Brady.
Someone's got it. Well, with Godwin playing, I'm gonna say not to be. If Godwin was not playing, I would say to be. But since Godwin is playing, I'm gonna say not to be.
Uh, what do you think would be a good day for Russell?
Okay, I think if he catches 4 passes for 70, 65, 70 yards, I think that would probably be a very good day for Russell Gage.
Okay. Um, Cowboys quarterback Dak will get his first win over Tom Brady in the season opener.
To be, I don't have any faith in this Buccaneers right now. They just seem snake bitten to me. Now, if they go out and blow up the doors against Dallas, then I was just like, okay, well, that snake bitten poison was taken out because to go out and blow out the Cowboys on a Sunday night, there's really no issues. But to me, it just seems like there's always players getting hurt. Tom Brady takes a couple of days off, which he's has a right to, but why? And it's just a lot of speculation, a lot of weird things going on that team. You have the coach quitting out of nowhere. It's just a lot of weird things. So I'm going to say that Dak Prescott gets this victory.
Oh, okay. You know he has a sore ankle reportedly, right?
Yes, he does. It seems like I heard also that it seems like he'll be fine. So that's another reason why I feel confident.
Okay. Um, Panthers starting quarterback Baker Mayfield will throw at least 3 touchdowns.
Not to be, no way. Nuh-uh. Ain't happening. Zero. I think he'll get 1 touchdown, maybe to DJ Moore, um, maybe to Robbie Anderson, maybe to Christian McCaffrey. It will be one though. That's it, and maybe like 240 yards.
Clowns running back Nick Chubb will open the season with his first 100-yard rushing game.
Ooh. I say 2B. I like Nick Chubb. I think they're going to run just because you have Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback there, and they're going to want to run a lot just so they don't have to force Brissett to win the game or have such an offensive drive with the quarterback at the helm. So Nick Chubb, 100 yards to be.
Eagles running back Miles Sanders will have his first 100-yard rushing game of the season.
I don't know what will come first, 100 yards or a touchdown. He didn't score a single touchdown last year.
We got another
I'm
one of those guys too that we'll be talking about.
geez, just crazy. I'm going to say not to be for 100 yards for Miles Sanders. I think Jalen Hurts is going to eat up most of those yards.
Okay. Lions quarterback Jared Goff will have at least 150 yards passing with one TD going to newly acquired Clark.
Mm, I'm gonna say no because it's just a little too specific for me. But I do believe he's going to have a touchdown. It could go to Chark, but I think he'll have one. It will be like a dump off to like DeAndre Swift or something to that effect. The 140 yards, or I forget what you mentioned, but sounds doable. So it's like 2/3 to be, but not full to be.
Okay. All right. So, but you think you have at least 150 yards passing. That's not great, but I mean,
It is Jared Goff. So 150 yards for him is probably pretty great. Yeah, I think you'll think you'll have 150.
Commanders QB Carson Wentz will throw 2 or more INTs.
I'm going to say not to be. I could see Carson Wentz throwing one interception, but it's not going to be like Matthew Stafford out there giving it away to whoever wants it. I see one interception, so I'm going to say not to be.
Jags running back ATN will open the season with his first 100-yard game.
I see the Jacksonville Jaguars splitting it up with James Robinson because they announced James Robinson's going to play in Week 1 with ETN. I just don't think there's going to be enough volume for ETN to do that. So even though I do expect him to have somewhat of a good game because he'll total it rushing and receiving, I don't see him going 100 yards or over. So not to be.
Okay. Giants quarterback will have a quarterback rating of 70 or less in his season's opening.
Daniel Jones. Well, here's going to be the big test of Brian DeBall. Is he really the quarterback whisperer? And if he is, then Daniel Jones should not have such a low rating. I don't think anybody saves Daniel Jones. I'm going to say he's going to have less than 70. So yes, to be less than 70 quarterback rating.
So you have faith in Baker. I mean, no, who's that?
Trubisky.
Yeah.
I do because Daniel Jones is a lot more erratic, and B, he throws the ball more deep more often than I think Trubisky will. So because he's going to have a lot more deep passes, there's going to be a lot more incompletions.
Derrick Henry has at least 2 rushing touchdowns.
Ooh, that's a good line. I'm going to say 2B. I think Derrick Henry is going to be Derrick Henry until he falls to injury. So to be Derrick Henry, 2 touchdowns, and of course, like 140 yards, and then he'll have 25 carries or some crazy amount of carries.
Your game. Davis Mills will have 2 or more INTs against the Colts defense.
Ooh, that's a good one. Davis Mills can take care of the ball pretty well, but I think they're going to have to force the throw. Therefore, Davis Mills, because they're going to be behind and they're going to have to come back, they're going to have to force the ball. That's going to be one. And then I think he'll have a one earlier in the game. So late in the game, because they're going to have to force, because they're going to be behind and throw. And then early in the game, he'll have one. So 2 interceptions for Davis Mills to be.
Yeah. If Rex Burkhardt is your number 2 running back, you have.
And then you have a rookie guy, Damian Pierce, also as your number 1 rookie. It's not something you want.
Matty Ice throws 3 or more TDs against the Texans.
I'm gonna say not to be, just because I don't see Matty Ice throwing the ball as much as even Davis Mills or anybody else. Very much ball control offense. Matty Ice can get. I see 2 from Matty Ice, but 3 not to be.
Wow. So you don't think? And now, are you saying that the Colts won't have at least 3 touchdowns, or just that Matty Ice won't throw touchdowns?
I don't see. I see them scoring at least 4 touchdowns and maybe a field goal. So sort of like what we saw out of Buffalo, 31 points, 34 points. But yeah, so Matty Ice, not because of low point totals, but because it's going to be more to like Jonathan Taylor running it in kind of situation.
Um, 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell will have his first 100-yard rushing game of the season.
It's very possible. I could see them running quite a bit, just because I could see them wanting to conserve Trey Lance, being this is his first start. This is game one. This is a lot of pressure on Trey Lance. Not that he can't handle it, but I don't care who you are. You're getting your first start ever in a pro stadium. I mean, you're going to have some nerves, and so I think they're going to try to want to ease him in a little bit and not put a lot of pressure on him, and sort of just develop his game as they move along through the season. So I could see Elijah Mitchell being a huge benefactor and getting the ball quite a bit. So I'm going to go yes, 100 yards for Elijah Mitchell to be.
Bears tight end Cole Kmet will catch a TD pass from Justin Fields.
I'm going to go to be on this, because there was like 3 or 4 different times where Cole Kmet was the main receiver down the field, and then they get down to like the 10-yard line, and Fields would throw it to Jimmy Graham for a touchdown. Jimmy Graham's no longer there. I see Fields owing Cole Kmet a touchdown here in this situation. And therefore, because he does owe him at least a touchdown in this game, especially in week 1, he's going to pay off that debt and Fields to commit for 1 score to be.
Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray throws 1 or more TDs to newly acquired wide receiver Marquise Brown.
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say 1 touchdown to Marquise Brown. It's going to be hard to throw 2. Uh, so I'm going to go with 1 Marquise Brown to be.
Um, how many TDs do you think Kyler Murray is going to throw this year?
Overall, I could see him throwing 29, 30 touchdowns, and then running in another 5 or 6. So he should have, a good 36, 37 touchdowns by the end of the year.
Was it Justin Fields that had 10 TDs last year as a QB?
It could have been. I could see Justin Fields having 10. It wasn't a whole lot, but I know he did have
Yeah.
at least 4 to Jimmy Graham. So throw in another 5 doesn't seem too far off. Let's see here. He had 7 touchdowns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes runs for at least 1 rushing TD.
No, I'm going to say not to be. Patrick Mahomes doesn't really rush for touchdowns. They like to use a lot of gadget plays down near the goal line. In fact, if anything, I could see Travis Kelce throwing or running a touchdown more than I can actually see Patrick Mahomes doing it, because they love to do so much trickery down near that goal line area. So I'm going to say not to be for Patrick Mahomes to run for a touchdown.
Raiders tight end Darren Waller has his first receiving touchdown of the season.
Ooh. He just got signed to a big fat contract. I'm going to say he celebrates this big signing and does score a touchdown. And to be, Darren Waller gets in the end zone one time against the Chargers.
Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has 100+ QBR against the
QBR.
Raiders.
I think so. I'm going to say 2B. I think the Raiders Chargers game is going to be a pinball factory. And there's just going to be points after points after points between these two teams. And to score points, you got to be really good throwing the ball. So I'm going to say Justin Herbert over 100 QBR rating to be.
Green Bay running back Aaron Jones has his first 100-yard rushing game of the season.
That's very possible. I think AJ Dillon is going to have a big role in this game. So I'm going to say not to be for Aaron Jones, even though it will be a very good game, maybe 85 to 90 yards rushing. I would say 100 total yards, yes, but not 100 yards rushing. So not to be.
Uh, Vikes running back Dalvin Cook has 2 rushing touchdowns against the Packers.
Ooh. It's so hard to score 2 rushing touchdowns. I'm going to say 2B. I really should probably say not to be, but I like Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to have a very good, solid season, and he's going to start it off just right with 2 rushing touchdowns against the Packers.
Geno Smith throws at least 2 INTs.
If he's lucky, only throwing 2 interceptions. I think Geno Smith throws 3 or more interceptions. So to be, because Geno Smith is just not good as a quarterback.
Speaking of another gentleman that did not catch a touchdown pass last year,
Yeah.
Jared Judy.
Oh, Jerry Judy.
He's going to get his first TD of the season.
I'm going to say 2B. I don't see a great game coming out of Jerry Judy. I do see a cheap touchdown, like the one we saw with Isaiah McKenzie, him running sort of that hitch route and getting that touchdown at the 6-yard line. I see something to that effect. Not to say touchdowns are cheap in the NFL, but not a great play out of it. Not where he's dodging and running by defenders or anything highlight reel. I should say nothing highlight reel. It's just going to be one of those 5-yard kind of hitch touchdowns. So catches like 3 balls for let's say 52 yards and then a touchdown.
So, from what you're saying, Mr. Sutton is wide receiver 1?
Yes, sir. I do believe that.
And if Judy only catches 1, you did say 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then how many does Sutton catch against this anemic defensive?
Seattle, yeah, especially passing defense. I think Sutton gets 2. That'd be 21. Yeah, I can see Sutton getting 2. I can't think of anybody else that would be maybe KJ Hamler. Nah, I think Cortland Sutton pulls in 2 touchdowns this week.
Okay. Any to the tight end?
It could be. Albert Okwuegbunam is very tall.
Yeah,
And
Bill's not here, so it's
yeah. Lean on Bill and his
yeah.
noise. Just really smoothly say that name. But he's 6'4", 6'5". He's a really big guy who can block out and yeah. But if anything, it would probably go to him.
Let's see. Tyreek Hill has 2 or more receiving TDs against the Pats.
I'm gonna say not to be. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be good, but I don't see him being explosive good in this offense. He'll be used in a lot of gadget plays and decoy plays, but to score 2 touchdowns, especially against the Patriots, who's going to slow down this game quite a bit, I'm going to say not to be.
Tua has a passing QBR has a QBR rating of 80 or less.
That's a good question. I think I'm gonna say 2B. I with Tua, he's definitely has the weapons now. And the I mean, when you have Jalen Waddle and you also have Tyreek Hill, he should be. They really put him in a great position to succeed, and I think he will succeed. So I don't see like 100, but I can see 80, 85, 90 maybe QBR out of Tua.
Uh, Lamar Jackson rushes for at least one TD and throws for at least one TD against the Jets.
I would really hope so. If he doesn't do that against the Jets, then there's going to be a lot to worry about as far as Lamar Jackson goes. I think the Jets are going to start off with cover zero and then see if he's figured it out and see if he's learned from his what he was facing last year, because he couldn't figure out cover zero for anything. So hopefully he's been working on that. And but I think the Jets are going to throw that out there, and if he has figured it out, this shouldn't be a problem. If he doesn't score a touchdown, or at least two, regardless of either way, then there's a huge problem in Baltimore.
Uh, Brees Hall will not have his first 100-yard rushing game against the Ravens.
I'm going to say to be. I don't believe that Brees Hall is going to have a 100-yard game, rushing game. He might get a 100-yard total, and that is probably a stretch, especially for first-year rookie, and against a Baltimore team that they play tough defense. They got great linebackers, so I'm going to say no, especially when you have a very poor offensive line like the Jets have. Not to be a 100-yard game for Brees Hall.
Najee Harris will have his first rushing TD against the Bungles.
I'm going to say yes to that. He might have two. He might run one and catch one. I'm hoping that they still use Najee Harris. I know they probably won't use him as much as they did last year, but I still see a lot of volume. Najee Harris is the only running back in Pittsburgh, as you know, and he should get plenty of volume. And the Bungles defense is not very good at all. So I can really see Najee Harris having a great first week of the season.
The Bungles defense will have at least 3 sacks.
Yeah, with Bungles defense being bad, but the offensive line for the Steelers not being so good either, I can see 3 sacks coming out of the Bungles defense.
Let's talk a little bit about last night's game. The 31-10 victory by the Bills. And did you notice how similar Josh Allen's numbers and Cooper Kupp's numbers were?
In which way?
I believe Josh had 31 to 32 points in most PPR
Oh,
leagues.
okay. I see what you're saying.
And I think Cooper had what 31 points also. I
Yeah.
think one was like 31.8, one's 30.2.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's especially, I mean, Cooper Kupp. Whenever you get a touchdown from your running back, receiver, tight end, you're always going to have a lot more points, especially at 6 when quarterbacks are getting 4. But this is how good Cooper Kupp is. He's like sneaky good, where you look back at it and you go, "Geez, they only scored 10 points."
Yeah,
But
and then you look
and
at his fantasy numbers and you say, "What?"
yep,
And
exactly. How did he get this? And then you look at it and you're like, oh, well, 10 receptions for 145 yards and a touchdown. And you're just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it doesn't seem like he does that on the football field. He's just very just reserved and quiet and just, I don't know. It's very, very interesting
he,
how he does it.
he would almost be the unknown soldier.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a great, yeah, analogy. Yes, where you don't know him, you don't know who he is, you don't know where he came from, but damn good.
Von Miller had 2 sacks.
Yes, he did. He was chomping at the bit. Yeah, he destroyed Matt Stafford. He's like, hey, remember me? Yeah, we were teammates. I'm coming back again, come and get you again. And it was a great game for Von Miller.
Uh, what did you think about the way that Matt Stafford looked? Do you think, I don't want to so much blame it on the game plan, but I mean, there were a couple, uh, I think, really bad calls
Mhm.
by uh, the
McVay.
Rams. Yeah, by the defense. And what did you also think about how sparsely he used Cam Akers?
I wasn't. I was a little surprised that he only got, I think, 3 carries. That was a little surprising, but I did think that he was going to be used sparsely. Um, that sparse, that was surprising. I was figuring at least 8 carries for Cam Akers, so and he only got, I believe, 3. So, um, yeah, it just tells me that Cam Akers isn't ready. And as far as some of the things that Matt Stafford was doing, he looked pretty good. It was just on onslaught by the defense. That offensive line, I don't know what in the hell, but they need to fix that in a hurry because the Buffalo Bills defense just ate them alive. It was almost like they weren't even there. There was like nobody holding the line. They just got eaten, and it's hard to do something when you're getting Buffalo Bills in your face on a stampede every single play. But I think he did well, minus those interceptions. But if he gets more time, hopefully he can get more time. I think he'll be just fine. I wouldn't look at his numbers or anything and go, "Oh God, Matthew Stafford just sucked." I don't think that was the case. I think it was just more of how the whole team kind of just sucked. But he'll bounce back. I didn't see really much wrong coming out of Matthew Stafford.
Now, my only concern with Matt Stafford is perhaps, and I know how we talk about, preseason games and so forth and so on, but in Matt's case, to me, he looked like he really needed a couple games, especially after the surgery. I mean, going more or less full speed against what a lot of people consider the next Super Bowl winners.
Hmm.
Uh, it looked like he needed what's the old saying from Denzel, Man on Fire. You just needed more time.
Hmm. Yeah, and I agree. I think he needed more time for sure. He was just getting. You could see it. I mean, like almost every play he dropped back, there was a Bill player, whether it was a linebacker, a defensive lineman, a safety, someone was in that backfield, and more times than not, there was multiple players in that backfield, and you just can't develop and be a good no matter how great you are. You don't give Peyton Manning any time, he's going to get run over too. So I 100% agree that he's going to definitely need more time.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's more than just me that watch Man on Fire, but we'll see.
I have not seen that. I love Denzel Washington, but I have not seen Man on
You've not
Fire.
seen it, Man on Fire? You should watch that one if
Mhm.
you get a chance. Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty good, Denzel. But I think it was made before Training Day. But
Oh
yeah,
wow. Okay. I love
so
Training Day too. Training
yeah.
Day was one of my favorites.
So let's do. Oh yeah, let's Dennis Green and the
Oh.
Saints. What do you? Is this still Sean Payton's team, or do you think he can come in and make it his team?
That's a tough question. I think it's going to be for a while. It's going to be Sean Payton's team. Uh, he's going to have to make the playoffs. He's going to have to win. He's going to have to be better than a bad team for them to not see Sean Payton. If they start winning, if he starts doing well, if they you know wipe the memory blinks because you're looking at somewhat of a different team. Michael Thomas is still there, but for the most part, it's it's a different team. You got Jarvis Landry now there. You have Chris Olave. These players weren't there when Sean Payton was there. So if you can win with them, then winning cures all.
How many targets do you think Michael Thomas has?
In week one or overall?
Week one.
Week one, I believe he'll have 9 targets.
And how many completions? How many will he
Uh,
catch?
I think he'll catch 6. So 6 for, let's see, 84 yards and no touchdowns.
But 6 out of 9,
It's not
hey,
bad.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, if that was your batting average, I mean, what the hell?
Oh hell yeah, you're a Hall of Famer.
So, uh, let's do some starts or sit-ems here. Of course, the guy that's always on the injured list tweaked his ankle last week when somebody stepped on it, I believe, and that's Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
Ah,
You start Christian McCaffrey. The only time you don't start Christian McCaffrey is unless Christian McCaffrey's not starting. So yeah, he's an automatic for me.
Trey Lance.
I think only in 2 quarterback leagues. I would not start him. I mean, if you drafted him to be your starter, then obviously you're going to start him to be your starter. But if you have, say, Trey Lance and Dak Prescott, I'd rather go with Dak Prescott than a Trey Lance.
Um, Dak, since you brought him up.
Yeah, I'll start Dak. Absolutely.
Dak supposedly has a sore ankle too. But
True.
we'll see. Uh, I guess let's see. Matty Ice.
No, I would not start Matty Ice unless A, you're in 2 quarterback leagues, or B, uh, well, no one's hurt. So no, I would not start Matty Ice.
Jameis Winston.
No, I wouldn't start Jameis Winston either. I think he'll throw a touchdown, a deep pass touchdown, but I don't see him finishing in the top 12.
Valdez Scanling.
That's an interesting one. If you're in 3 wide receiver leagues with a flex, go for it. If you're in a 2 wide receiver league, then no.
Julio Jones.
No, no, I can't trust Julio Jones unless there's a reason to. And maybe Tom Brady will deliver a reason, but I don't see that happening.
Rashad Penny.
Yes, I would start Rashad Penny. He's almost like Christian McCaffrey, an automatic start if he's healthy.
Uh, T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah, I think people drafted TJ Hawkinson in the top 12. So I don't know if he'll finish in there because tight end position is so wonky. But if I have TJ Hawkinson, I'm starting him.
Um, let's see. Gasecki.
No, I don't think Gesicki is going to finish in the top 12, so I would not start him.
Let's see. Um, what's the guy on the other side of Tyreek? Uh,
Jalen Waddle.
yeah.
Yeah, I do start Jalen Waddle. I think that Tua and Jalen showed such great chemistry last year. I think that's going to continue.
Um, Stevenson for the Patriots.
I think this is going to be more Damian Harris than it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson. So I would save Ramondre Stevenson for later in the year because I think eventually it's going to be Stevenson's backfield. But as far as week one goes, I won't start him.
Um, do you start any of the Ravens running backs?
That's a good question. Mike Davis, maybe. Outside of Mike Davis, then no, I would not start any of them.
Um, let's see. Who is their new wide receiver? Have to look him up here.
For
For the
which team?
Ravens. For the Ravens. Now that they got rid of Marquise Brown.
I don't. Well, they have James Proche is going to be the deep threat, but are you thinking of Rashad Bateman?
Rashad Bateman, yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe Rashad Bateman is the starter. Not the starter. He is a starter, but it should be a starting wide receiver in a
Yeah.
flex.
He's wide receiver. Well, he's listed as wide receiver one.
Yes, correct. I would consider him in the flex, but he's probably like a third wide receiver on the team right now for anybody.
For the Steelers, Pat Freiermuth.
I think things changed for Freiermuth. He could be a tight end 12. He could finish there. So I think, yeah, go ahead. If you have Freiermuth and nobody better, then definitely go. You can start him. Just don't expect a whole lot.
Now, as of this last depth chart, because we have Austin and is it Miller on IR, George Pickens is listed as wide receiver 3. Do I start Pickens or Claypool?
Well, both are deep receivers. So if I have to choose one, I'm not going to choose the rookie. I'm going to choose the veteran, and that's Claypool. So I'd rather go Claypool over Pickens.
Okay. Let's see. We went through Derrick Henry. For Traylon Burks or Westbrook. What's his name? I really need.
Akini,
Yeah.
Nick Westbrook Akini.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Treylon Burks. I think that the Titans are going to want to get him involved right away, and Akini's more of a wide receiver 3 on the team, especially with Robert Woods there. So Treylon Burks should have the better game.
Mike Williams or Keenan Allen?
I'm in a PPR league. I'm going to go Keenan Allen. In a standard league where it's just about touchdowns, I'm going to go Mike Williams.
Eckler.
Oh yeah, for sure. Eckler definitely. You want to get him going.
Interesting combination here. You got 3 running backs. You got McCaffrey, you have Eckler, and you have Jonathan Taylor.
So Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, and who was the other?
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. In order, I would go Taylor, McCaffrey, Eckler.
you would rate Eckler ahead of McCaffrey, or the other way around?
The other way around.
Josh Jacobs.
Definitely must start. I think he's a good, solid RB2 for anybody out there. At the very least, he's going to finish, with double digits. But I think the Raiders Chargers game is going to be just a hell of a lot of points. So get those guys in if you can.
Hunter Renfro or Mac Hollins?
Definitely Hunter Renfro over Mac Hollins.
Let's see, a couple more here real quick. Who do we got left? Oh, Pittman or who's your other wide receiver there? Wide receiver 2.
We got Paris Campbell or Alec Pierce, the rookie. I think Paris Campbell gets his start.
You think he gets to start this week?
Yeah, I think Paris Campbell gets. I don't know how he'll get to start. How long he'll be on the field is going to be a completely different story, or it could be a completely different story. But I would go Pittman over either Pierce or Paris Campbell.
Saquon Barkley, Kadarius Toney, or Sterling Shepard?
Oh, I think you definitely go Barkley. Kadarius Toney is number 2, and then Sterling Shepard number 3.
Do you think that I know in essence this has to be, but what are you predicting for Saquon this year?
I think by the end of the season, he's going to be drafted in the first round and not the second round. I think he can finish as a top RB5, maybe an RB7 kind of year out of him.
Jahan Dotson or Curtis Samuel?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would go Jahan Dotson just because I think Curtis Samuel is going to be more of a gadget kind of dude.
Lazard. In 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Do you start Lazard? And if not, who do you trust of the Packers wide receivers?
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I think Lazard, it would be, if any of the guys, it would be Lazard. I might trust Randall Cobb a little bit just because Aaron Rodgers and Cobb have been together for a very, very, very long time. But I think any of those guys, and I don't even know if Christian Watson's playing this week, but it would be Alan Lazard that I'd go with.
Drake London, or let's see, who's Zachariah?
Oh, Alamid Zacharias.
Yeah.
Drake London should be the number 1 guy there. Absolutely.
Cordell Patterson.
I want to see what they do with him. I don't really even know what they're going to do at running back, but if he gets if they use him like they did last year, I will definitely. I think you even start Cordell Patterson as a flex.
Oh, okay. Kyle Fitz.
You're definitely going to play him, but just because you drafted him inside that top 4, 3, 2, 1, wherever. I mean, I've seen him go in so many different directions. But I'm not a big Pitts fan this year, but you're going to play him just because you drafted him to be your starter.
Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I like Zach Ertz. You don't have to start him because he's probably a tight end 10 through 12. And I know he's dealing with some things, so I don't even know how well he's going to play if he plays. So just be cautioned with that. But he should, by the end of the year, finish within the top, I would say, 7, depending on health.
James Conner.
Yeah, he's an RB2 for most, so James Conner should be a starter.
AJ Green or Rondell Moore?
I think Rondell Moore is out, so
I was going to say, yeah, Rondell is out. So Marquise Brown or AJ?
Definitely Marquise Brown. I think he's going to have a good day.
How do you think that's going to work with what's his name coming back? DeAndre Hopkins coming back after 8 games.
I think it's going to take a couple weeks for them to sort of get together. But DeAndre Hopkins is going to be fresh, and it should really boost the team quite a bit. So it's going to be a little bumpy in the beginning, but once they take off, it's going to be pretty awesome.
Would you have AJ Green as trade bait if that's the case? Because there's not going to be enough balls to go around.
It depends on how well AJ Green does in the meantime. He's sort of just on his last legs anyway. So if he does burst out of the gate and he looks good the first couple of weeks, then I would definitely use him as trade bait.
Is there anyone that you start from the Seahawks?
I think you can start DK Metcalf with confidence. But outside of that, Rashad Penny, yeah. Outside of that, no. Penny and Metcalf are probably the only two you're going to want to start.
Noah Fant?
Nah. I don't. I'd have to see because he's the tight end that played with Drew Lock, and since Geno Smith is the starting quarterback, I don't even know how they're going to, work together.
Did I mention Zach Ertz?
Yes, he did.
Okay. My favorite guys here. See what we got going down with the clowns here. Yeah. Let's start with we mentioned Chubb, but Amari Cooper.
No, I don't like Amari Cooper. I mean, you could probably start him like a wide receiver 3 or flex if you're only doing 2 wide receivers, but with Jacoby Brissett and Amari Cooper combination, this is not going to be pretty.
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Again, Brissett, its arm strength is just lacking. So I would stay away from both Donovan Peoples-Jones and Anthony Schwartz.
Okay, and Njoku.
Maybe Njoku. Brissett really likes to target the tight ends, so that's Njoku. So I could really see that happening for them.
And let's see. Let's take a quick look here at Jacksonville. We mentioned Trevor Lawrence, ATN, Marvin Jones, or Christian Kirk.
I think you want to go with Christian Kirk here. Marvin Jones, maybe later in the season, someone that you could put in the flex, but I think with the huge salary that they put on the shoulders of Christian Kirk, they're going to really want to get him involved.
And Evan Ingram.
We'll see. New player in the system. We'll see how that translates. They've never played together, so I usually reserve until I see something, if they're working it together or not. Jacksonville Jaguars used a tight end last year, but now it's a dual offensive coordinator and stuff. So I want to see it first.
Let's take a last look at these Eagles here, and then I'll let you go. A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith?
That's a tough one. I'm going to go Devontae Smith for now, just because I think Tua is going to be not Tua. Jalen Hurts is going to be very reserved, short to intermediate, scramble around, find the clearest option. And AJ Brown is more downfield kind of guy, so I think Devontae Smith is a better option.
Did you know that the Eagles were only carrying 4 wide receivers on their depth chart?
I know they released a bunch, but I didn't know it was only down to 4. That's funny.
AJ Brown, Zach Pascal, Devonta Smith, and Quez Watkins.
Wow. Well, that tells me they're going to want to run the ball because that's not a whole lot of guys there. That's wow. That's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, you do have 4 running backs on the roster, and you got 4 tight ends on the roster. So
Wow.
Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I like Dallas Goedert. He should finish in the top 5 to 7 of tight ends this year.
We talked about Dak, the Eagles, the Giants. Let's see what the Cowboys look like here on their depth chart. Oh, now are you as high as everyone else on CD Lamb? Because
Yes.
I see, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers, and James Washington on a IR. So, how would you rank the Dallas Cowboys fantasy value at wide receiver?
Well, you have Michael Gallup also out. Do we include tight ends in this or just strictly wide receivers?
Just wide receivers. I'm going to ask you about Dalton next.
I would say a C minus as far as wide receivers go. We'll see. It definitely takes a boost up when Michael Gallup returns. We'll see how the rookie Jalen Tolbert is, but just on paper alone right now, I would say C minus.
Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz is top 5 tight end for me, so he's for sure.
Do you believe at some point in this coming season, we've been threatening for the last 2 years, do you see the next starting running back by, I'll say, game 10 will be Tony Pollard?
No, I think as long as Ezekiel Elliott is there and healthy, it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott. But Tony Pollard is definitely going to get a lot of work, but he won't be the starter.
So you get Tony for the yards and you get Zeke for the TDs.
There you go. I like that. That works for me.
Okay. Hey, great Friday, man. Always good talking with you. Give us your final thoughts and some of your starts or sit-ins that maybe I missed, or you can give us some updates on a few of your leagues if you want.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you again for having me. I enjoy doing this with you every Friday. I think as far as final thoughts go, I hope everybody just has a great Sunday. Being week 1 of the season, it's always a good time. But also, take care of yourself. Don't, with so many different options to go home, Uber and whatever else. Make sure that you take care of yourself when you're having a great time. Outside of that, just enjoy your weekend and hope everything is great. As far as starts and sits, I think we covered it very, very well. And then just, you drafted the players that you drafted to start. And that's what you're going to do. Start your guys that you got first. And then we'll see how the season unfolds and then make decisions from there. Outside of that, my thoughts again are out there. Thank you very much for having me on.
No problem, man. And as always, our thoughts and prayers go out to Demetrius and his family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, hey, you have a great night, and I'll talk to you next week, man.
Yes, sir. Have a great night and a weekend.
You too. Enjoy your football. And don't forget to own the Amazon Prime next Thursday night. starts Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime.
Oh, that's going to be fun. I'll enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
Have a good night, sir.
All right. You have a good one. Talk to you next
Thank
week.
you. Yes, sir.